Hey there, and welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about how to attract, engage, and retain clients using digital marketing. My name is Brandon Brashears. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about wellness plans, marketing with loyalty and membership, and I think it's a really good conversation. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that I think are super relevant in today's market and also in the future. So excited about today's episode and the interview. Before we begin, I want to mention a few things. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. And be sure to head on over to the Veterinary Marketing Nerds Facebook group, where you can get help with anything related to your marketing. If you have any questions or need ideas, it's a great place to collaborate. So be sure to head on over there. So let's jump into today's episode. Today we are talking with Brian Macrae, the founder of Rethink Vet Solutions and Rethink Loyalty. And Brian has been doing loyalty and rewards membership programs now for, I want to say, over 8 years in the veterinary industry. He's actually the reason why I started in the veterinary industry. So I'm very thankful to Brian that he decided to choose the veterinary market as a niche. Since working with Brian, he's been absolutely kind of, I think, paving the way and pioneering the way for a lot of loyalty rewards programs and helping the industry to kind of change their mind about discounting and rewards and the major difference between what those two things are. In today's episode, we talk about a lot of the time constraints, a lot of the administration constraints that come along with loyalty programs, wellness plans, and just other plans in general, right? Where practices are so overburdened with all of the administrative work that they have to do that it's difficult to actually implement something. So we talk about some ideas that will help to get not only better clients for your practice, but retain those great clients, and then give you a way to manage your time and your procedures so that you can hopefully, spend the most amount of time using your highest and best use of your time so that you're making as much revenue as possible doing the procedures that you love and working with the clients that you love. So without further ado, here's Brian Macrae and the interview I did with him. All right, on this week's episode, we have Brian Macrae. Brian, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. I think this is the third podcast appearance here. It's been a while. So
yeah, I'm glad to be here. Honored to be here. And yeah, it has been a while.
So if those of you who don't know Brian, if anybody ever asks, how did you get started in veterinary marketing? Brian is the reason for it. So Brian, why don't you kind of tell people how you got in the industry as well? And you dragged me in, which I'm so thankful for. So tell everybody how you entered the veterinary space.
Yeah. I got to go back all the way to 2012 now for that. It was just a casual dinner conversation. My wife was, we were just talking for dinner, talking about regular stuff. She invited her parents over, and my mother-in-law came over for dinner, and she was really excited about wellness plans, but also very confused about them. This was back in the day where one of the big pet food companies was launching the initial pilot, and they were going over their software, their charges, and how it was all going to work. And I had already been in a membership, model. I worked with companies selling memberships for many years. I built technology to help companies implement the membership concept into their businesses. So when she started sharing it, I immediately started saying, well, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. I don't see this working. And what they're charging you for the software is not feasible long-term at all. It's way too much. And long story short, that company ended up flopping. They only launched half their clients. The rest, they kind of left holding the bag and said, sorry, we're no longer supporting this anymore. And the industry's kind of evolved on the wellness plan model since then. But that was in a nutshell. It just decided to create a new solution to the problem, which I thought was which I saw ahead of time. We created a membership model for her veterinary practice. I said, let's do this instead. And her doctor amazingly approved it to be the first pilot to try it. And we started that in Foothill Animal Hospital in Orange County back in 2012. And I believe they sold 200 or 300 memberships their first month. And they're still running the program today successfully. And then we just kind of grew around the industry and just doing a different model than the typical wellness plan membership base, but real smaller entry point. That's been pretty successful.
Definitely. And it's been a wild ride in a long time. And I think your take on membership, the previous episodes that we've done, were just full of value. So if you haven't listened to the previous membership episodes, difference between discounting and rewards, And, all of that conversation, I think there's so much value in that. But I think that today, so back when you started this in 2012, we were coming off the Great Recession of 2008. I think people were still feeling the residual effects of that, right? And so it was trying to figure out, number one, how do we get more revenue per client, and how do we get more visits per client? So we're trying to maximize and squeeze the juice out of everything that we had in the practice. If you fast forward to today, I think it's a different paradigm for practices where they're like, they're trying to just drink from a fire hose type of a thing with clients. And so they have a different set of problems, but I think there's a lot of really, cool things that we've been talking about here that I think are going to be really valuable. So, when we're thinking about wellness plans and marketing, what are and wellness plans, memberships, loyalty programs, what do you think the end net goal is? Because anytime you do marketing, you're always, what is the goal? What are we trying to do? Get more clients, get more frequency, get more transactions? What is it in your opinion when it comes to, membership?
Well, I think the biggest the biggest goals of any type of marketing or membership marketing or wellness plans is to keep the clients you have, right? To have them come in more often, be more compliant, do the things that they should be doing to take care of their pets, and providing, the best way that can be done at your practice. So retain and then come in more often. And then also, add new, grow your client flow. So if you're doing those two things well, you're going to be able to, have new clients come in at the door. And so you just, retain them, keep them, and add more, and slowly grow that and get them, as locked in to your practice as possible. And I believe there's a few key things that lock them in, but you have all the practice side, the service side, the customer service, nothing can fix that if that's not done wrong. But if you're doing all those things well and you're comparing yourself to a practice 5 miles from you that's also doing those things well, then it's what are the other edges, or what other things can you do to strengthen that relationship and really solidify it to where they aren't going to go anywhere else, no matter who moves next door, no matter what kind of budget the other practice has, no matter what kind of marketing they have. They're really, really locked in. So I don't believe just money locks them in, but you just need the whole pie.
Definitely. That makes a lot of sense. So when we're thinking about kind of the marketplace right now, when it comes to wellness plans or loyalty programs, I think personally, and talking to veterinarians all the time, I think it's just administration. Everybody is already so busy. They can't answer the phones. They're so busy a lot of times right now, and understaffed. There's problems. And I think for most people, right, having a program that you don't use doesn't make any sense at all. And I think probably that's one of the biggest pain points right now is administration is really tough. Can you kind of talk about the key elements of loyalty, rewards, and even wellness type plans that would, how do we make this successful in today's
yes market? And I'll be the first to admit today's market is drastically different. Our company has been we've kept our clients. The clients that are running the program have done amazing through COVID and through this whole situation and shortage of being able to get talent in practices. But onboarding new clients has been a lot harder. And so back in the day, that wasn't the challenge like you talked about. You had the Bayer study, you had all these other different problems that don't exist as much today. Can they come back? Yes, but that is the. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought, Brandon, on your question.
So the question is, how do we make this successful?
Pivot it for the admin. Okay, got it. Yeah, sorry, I just blanked out for a second there. So the administration side, that is the challenge, and that was one of the problems that we were solving originally. The original wellness plan model to be implemented, although it's a great idea, and I could share some recent stats that I came across from VCA on their care club, but administration has still been the number one blocker for a regular independently owned practice to administer wellness plans at the highest level. And at the highest level is typically a 10% conversion. So even with the most help you're going to get to do this, we're still seeing what I would say 90% of your clients are not participating. So is that a win? I don't know. But the reason is the administrative side, it's harder, right? Explaining this is covered, that's covered, all the different differences with it and getting people committed. You're only usually converting your top 10% who are the clients who are just probably maybe going to do a lot of what you say anyways all the time. Are you really reaching the other part? So we started the original membership model with that in mind to make it easier. However, that was good enough, most of the past 10 years, but we found out in this last year, a lot of practices aren't seeing clients face to face. It's gotten even harder to have, in there. So how do you make it easier? So we did have to pivot our model to make it as fully automated as possible and take out the least amount of questions, the least amount of client misunderstandings, and break it down to what is the biggest moving pieces and just focus on those. And then, lock people into your practice but we still want to do the membership concept. We're trying to automate it so it's touchless and you don't have to run a transaction on a terminal. You don't have to run a transaction on any type of terminal. It's basically autopilot, money coming in every single month. And then you're just basically using your practice software the way you would before, with one new button, really.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, when you say 10% adoption for practices, it seems like the Pareto principle of like 80-20, you would expect that at least 20%, like kind of by default, so it's probably even half of kind of good, like a 50% of good rate. You'd expect like 20% adoption, So
right.
That's really interesting. So what does a loyalty, rewards, or membership program look like today if it was ideal? Like, let's say you're designing something. What does that look like, and kind of how do we optimize that for practice today?
Here's what I think it looks like, but I'm going to leave this to your audience to decide if you think this is an actual solution. I've fleshed this idea out. I had this idea 2 or 3 years ago. We didn't have the technology to do it yet. Although I ran it by some of my most brilliant marketing minds and practice owners who are consultants with other practices, and not only other practices, but top practices. And I remember going over it, and some of them said, wow, if you could do that, that would be amazing. So we just couldn't do that without rebuilding our tech stack completely from the ground up at the time. So it was a big pivot. We just couldn't do it, but COVID kind of forced us into making those tech changes if we're going to continue to be able to service, veterinarians and solve the problem. So what I think ideally would be, we want membership, but we got to take out all the loose pieces and all the misunderstandings. And I think that's the problem with wellness plans: is this covered, that's covered. There's arguments over what's covered. There's misunderstandings. It's just not that easy. Not that easy to explain. Somebody can't read, something in 3 minutes and say, oh, that makes sense for me. I want to join that. This is too hard not to do. And because of that, the conversion's low, right? So in our other membership model, somebody had to, we charged, $80 to $100 per membership, and we're loading just about that in value, or even a little bit more in value, to incentivize a client to buy that membership. But it's great, but they're buying it over the counter. You're swiping the credit card. You're running the transactions on an internet terminal at the time. And after a while, there was a little bit more upkeep with it. So what is the main goal? The goal is that was successful with wellness plans or our old membership model is when somebody commits to membership, they're more committed to your practice. They're going to come in more often. They're not going to leave as easy. And if they build a balance, whether it's rewards or if they have exams included, or they've got even vaccinations on some memberships included, they are going to be less likely to go somewhere else. So right away, you're putting on what I call the golden leash. Build up balances, and all of a sudden the other practices marketing is less effective, not completely effective from a financial standpoint. So the newest model, if you were to ask me, would be payment plans. And payment plans would be a hybrid between our membership concept and the typical wellness plan that exists today. So take out all the fluff. We want somebody to commit to a membership and pay monthly, right? People want budgeting options, and they want to pay monthly. The thing that people decline on, compliance is usually a larger transaction, something they weren't expecting, and they have credit cards, they're doing that, but it's putting them behind in a lot of cases. Maybe not every area demographically, but some. So how do you offer payment plans? And when someone calls your practice and says, hey, do you guys offer wellness plans? Because I heard, blah, blah, blah company offers that. Do you guys offer it? You can say, yes, we do. Here's a link. We'll send it to you right now. This is the plan that we offer. And can somebody look at that link and decide in 1 or 2 minutes that, yes, I like this plan. I'm signing up right now. And if not, then it's not really fully automated, right? Then you have to have somebody sell the program or do more, talking about it. So, being able to say yes to that, number one, is probably going to sometimes get clients to come to your practice because at least they know you offer something when people are doing their shopping around. But the other thing is, if they see that and they like it, it's fully automated. They can sign right up, they can buy it. And the next thing you know, you are auto drafting, money on automatic payment, auto pay, and they're paying your practice to be committed at your practice. And so to me, that would be the ideal situation. Now, what are the moving parts of that membership? Do you want me to go into that now? Because it's really, really easy. But
sure, absolutely. How does that look, and how does that administered?
So how this looks is I would offer a payment plan and offer whatever tiers you feel is relevant to your practice and your demographics. So let's just pick $50 a month to fit most demographics and be an easier number to work with. And if you're a pet owner, you should be able to afford $50 a month, right? So if you tell someone you're going to come in and spend $600 a year, that can happen anytime. It's a little more uncomfortable. But if you tell a pet owner, look, you just pay $50 a month, you're going to build your balance, then we're going to have a credit for you for your pet. You're going to stay ahead. So the way it looks like is you have this type of dog, you're probably going to spend about $600 a year on average, over the next few years on your pet's care. We have a payment plan for that. It's $50 a month. And here's how it works. You just click this link, you sign up, you go on auto pay. We're going to bill you automatically every single month. When we do, it's going to be added to your gift card, credit, cash balance at the practice that you can use towards anything you want at the practice. And we're also going to give you a 5 or 10% bonus. Your practice can decide what they want to do. We have practices successfully running both of those bonus amounts. We're going to give you a 5 or 10% bonus in a reward balance every single month just for being on auto pay. So you pay $50 a month. We're going to put $5 aside into your reward balance that you can use towards services at the practice only. So the reward balance is used for services. So I sign up, I say $50 a month. Yep, I'm going to spend about $600 a year anyways between my wellness visits and illness visits and a couple checkups. Maybe I get, a couple grooming appointments. That's fine. Perfect. Sign me up. It's $50 a month. That's it. It covers everything. It's basically they're giving you money in advance. It's in a gift card. You're not giving anybody any services ahead of time. You're not doing any collections. You're not lending people money. You collect money. They're budgeting it. They build their balances, and then they use it when they need to come in. And so the reason I thought this was, I'll pat myself on the back. The reason I thought this was a genius idea was the most loyal people in a membership program, in our membership program, are the ones who save their money. They let their rewards build up for years, and they've got $200, $300, $400, $500 in balances. But that's usually, with our old model, takes a long time to build that kind of balance. Now, somebody pays $50 a month, boom, first month they got $55 in there. Next month they got $110. It starts to build, and all of a sudden you have high balances in there. Well, what happens when you have high balances? I'm less hesitant to get to the practice. Take my dog in for, a little thing that's going on with his ear because I have money in there. So all of a sudden your compliance skyrockets. They have money budgeted. They're going to have more money to say yes to things that are recommended. It's done on a monthly basis, so they're not feeling the pain as much. And you're essentially paying them interest that they can't get anywhere else in a regular bank account. But you're giving that interest in a way that's not costing you real hard dollars. You're giving it towards services at your practice only. So we have this, I built the software where you can, a practice can design this membership and set all those ratios. It's fully private branded, and it looks amazing. People can reach out to me if I could send them a demo if they'd like. I can do a demo with their own practice. I can build one custom for them and show them exactly what this would look like, what the client flow would be, what the administration would be on the practice side. And basically we've removed 80% of the moving parts. And so now we're just showing you a way to collect monthly on membership and subscription. And so you get 1,000 people to pay you $50 a month, and that's $50,000 a month of automatic revenue. You tell me if your practice is worth more or less when you go to sell it and you have, that many people paying you on auto subscription payments.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. And I think from a marketing standpoint right now, and I know that everybody's really busy, right? I've been doing a lot of ads for clients that are startup practices. And I mean, when we are trying to fill the appointment schedule for new practices, one of the easiest ways to get new clients is just targeting same day searches. So people that are looking for non-urgent, but like you'd be amazed at the search volume. People searching for vets with appointments available today, vets appointments soon. Like, there is such a huge demand because people are booking out so far in advance right now. If you don't have a way to retain your clients, there's going to be a select group of clients that are not 100% bonded to your practice that want something, and you're going to go out and find it elsewhere. And so building balances, I think, would be a helpful way to mitigate, the losing of clients, especially if you're overbooked right now. And that way you're not losing the people that you've already converted who know, like, and trust you and want to do business with you, but they're maybe impatient or who knows what.
Right.
That's really cool.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I think there's a fantastic application. So, and I think too, it's really interesting for subscriptions and, maybe having multiple plans and just kind of breaking it down in terms of, average cost per demographic. So puppy plan, midlife plan, senior plan, because I'm sure that, spending is higher for puppies probably when you have, procedures and stuff that you're doing early on. And then at the end of
multiple
life, pain management and stuff like that. But make it.
Yeah. And then you have your higher end plan for multiple pet owners, and they have maybe different pets ranging in all the different ranges. And they average, some people average $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year, in pay. So they would be able to jump on a $200 a month plan easily,
Absolutely. I think that is just the simplicity of that, of here's your kind of menu of options, and have some, pretty big buckets to kind of put everybody into that would be beneficial. I think so many times marketing is overcomplicated when there's just too many options and too much customization. And,
yes.
If you look at businesses that have been around forever, like In-N-Out, for example, if you go look at their menu, there's like 3 things on the menu. They got burgers, fries, and shakes, and like that's it, So it's pretty cool. So let's kind of compare this, I guess, to a wellness plan, or let's say somebody is really into wellness plans, and the reason why they like wellness plans is, I guess, to kind of probably get a higher level of compliance, right? If you're paying already for certain procedures, maybe I really don't know why somebody would want wellness plans over, say, like a membership or loyalty program.
Well, from a client standpoint, someone joins a wellness plan because, one, they're seeing their financial value. They're saving it by buying it in a bundle, and right, so they're committing to that because they feel like they're going to get their care. It's budgeted for. And if you net it down, it's really like, okay, I'm paying monthly for some things and ahead of time, and they're giving them a little bit of a price break. In some cases, I think way too much. Practices don't even need to give that much away. So, but I think the need from the client end is like, you give me a monthly package, I'll pay monthly, and you're giving me some value back. So giving a 10% reward towards services in the future costs so much less than 20% off of whatever your services are. So if we want to talk about increasing profitability, but not losing marketing punch, I think that this model has a chance to do that.
That's really interesting.
What do you think? But I just think if you net it down, it's just a monthly payment for a perceived monthly value, monetary value. That's why people are buying wellness plans.
Yeah, I think so. Especially if you put the reward on there, that makes it so much more valuable. I mean, there's like layaway, for example, at Walmart and other places. It doesn't make sense. Like why people are giving their money to these companies for like to pay off their own stuff that they could buy. It just is really interesting into the consumer mindset of people who like to have structured payments that they make and pay into. And I think it is just from a budgeting standpoint gives them kind of that feeling of they're on the right track. And so
yeah. And I've described it very simply, but remember, that's just the foundation. Getting somebody on a payment plan is like, hey, this is just good for you, even if we don't give you a bonus, because now you're just budgeting and you're saving money, with a pet. You just like you took that problem of thinking of how to pay for your pet out and just say, hey, I can do it monthly. That's digestible for me, where for some pet owners, especially if you're not high income, it's like, man, you worry about those $500,000-$600,000 payments that could just come up out of nowhere. It's so nice to just say, hey, just pay monthly, and even if you have $1,000 next year, at least you have it, and you're getting interest on it, getting pretty good reward for it. And so, but there's a lot of other marketing things we can do too, which I can go over a couple advanced marketing things you can do. I mean, I know you've mentioned Chewy before, and people are, and I haven't really put a whole lot of thought about trying to, stop the, what is that? I don't forgot the word for it, but where people are going outside of the practice to buy other things.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that the veterinary industry is really being, I don't know how to say it, but other than kind of just generally attacked by outside corporate business, right? Where you have profit centers, which are pet owners, and there's these large companies. The landscape is super competitive for pet products, right? How do you get pet owners in? The thing you could do is, if you had a pet store, you could hire a vet to come in and do free exams all day long. Right. And then, you're out a couple $100 or, but it's a huge draw for bringing in pet owners and building your list and so there's these huge, Chewy's doing telemedicine for free. And so there's a lot of competitors that I'm sure are seeing this as a marketing and acquisition cost of the veterinary care. And, it's valuable to have segments and lists of people that you can be marketing to. So I think it's something, as more corporate money comes into the space and as more competition happens in the digital landscape, people are going to get more and more creative with attracting pet owners. And it's just going to happen. I was talking to a practice today, and she was saying that there was an emergency practice was purchased by a corporate group, and everybody, once they acquired that, they lost a ton of staff, and so they're trying to fill it right now. And they were giving away $100,000 signing bonus to a new hire for a veterinarian, which is wild. So I mean, corporate groups have deep pockets for hiring, for acquisition, for it just is wild. It'd be tough to compete as a small practice if you're not smart, especially as the market changes. I think that there's always danger in thinking, okay, this is going to last forever. This gravy train's never going to end. This is just the new paradigm. When people start saying, oh, this is just the new paradigm, that means, I think, generally speaking, that a crash is about to come. I mean, it happens in housing, it happens in auto. Every industry has cycles. The economy has cycles. And when you get to the point where you're like, oh, this is just the new normal. Yeah, this is, houses just cost $1 million no matter where you go. It's not feasible or sustainable, in my opinion. So,
yep.
What do you think are marketing ideas that are kind of more advanced and
so I'd say, and I thought of this in the past. We just didn't have the technology, and our clients, they do so well with the program, and no offense to the veterinary industry, but they like to keep it simple. And once they get something working, they kind of keep it, and they don't like change very much. So it's fine. They can keep running it. But I came up with ideas, working with some of these pharmaceutical, companies. Some companies sponsored their best practices to get our software. I'm like, okay, well, what can we do to, if you're losing a lot of, annual supplies, if you're selling an annual supply of parasite medication and it's, $100 from you and it's $75 at Costco, I mean, do you just want to let everybody buy it from Costco, or do you want me to show you a way to collect more money and not lose any business to Costco? And most of them just kind of feel like we lost that battle already. But here's an idea I had, and you can tell me I'd love to implement this and beta test it if somebody wants to, but it's just an idea. It's just to let you know the type of marketing versatility you can get once you have a membership base platform. So if I own a veterinary practice, I could say our members always beat Costco in prices. Well, how do you beat Costco? Well, you guys charge $100, and we charge, and Costco charges $75. Well, you pay us $100, we'll give you $25. We'll give you $26 in rewards. You see, so you can give an extra reward for somebody on certain items. If somebody wants to I would do it probably with bulk type of sales, but if you're going to buy a year supply of this or a year supply of that, we'll do that. We're going to collect full price because you have your margin to cover for your product, right? So if your full price is, say 120, and that's with your markup and everything, so you're making good money. You collect the 120, and then you give away the reward dollars. Okay, so you're giving away casino chips, for real money. That's always a winning strategy. Let's just look at Vegas. And then at that point, you're going to fill in. So what you're doing at that point is you are going to service that reward dollar with a exam or with a service that they come in for. Now, back in the day, this would have been easier because a lot of practices, I always said, what's your opportunity cost? Practices got caught up in, well, this costs so much money. I'm all, really? Well, how much does it cost for you to pay a doctor $120,000 a year, and he's only seeing patients 60% of the time while he's in the practice? Finally, they started to get it. I said, well, yeah, I mean, that's 40% of his $100,000 annual salary is $40,000 going to waste while he's walking around and not necessarily seeing patients. So this was back in the day. I mean, I realize that's not a problem right now. But to your point, my clients, the ones I want to work with, aren't looking at, hey, what's happening today. The ones I want to work with that are going to be successful at this are saying, I want to be set up for tomorrow. I want to be set up for 2 years from now. I want to be set up for 5 years from now. And when I go to sell my practice, I want my book to look so good that I'm getting, 120, 40% on what other practices are getting because the books look that good. So, and you're set up for other situations where, okay, now we do have holes in our schedule. People aren't coming as much. 5 other practices just opened up within a 10-mile radius. Those types of things. I mean, that can happen, right, Brandon? I mean,
absolutely, 100%. And one thing that you just were mentioning there, collecting revenue today and giving rewards out in the future. If you look at just inflation as well, your devaluing of dollars, it's a weird economy and market right now. But I think inflation is probably a pretty significant worry. And so as prices go up for things in the future, those reward dollars are essentially less valuable in the future too. So giving away perceived value today and giving people balances helps across the board too. So it's kind of an interesting thought. And
once you collect real money and you're giving away rewards in return, the rewards can have they have rules to them, but you kind of can set the rules.
Definitely.
So you can set that up where it's a win-win. But I just, that was an aggressive way to go about it. But the other way to look at it is, why not just send a coupon out right now where let's just say what do you think is the least busiest time of the year where there's actually more downtime than ever, It
might be right now. It's kind of weird. Usually it's back to school time is pretty much the downtime.
Okay. So what if you set up that time as, boom, we're going to actually be proactive. We're going to call all of our clients, say, hey, can we book you in for this time? Start getting people to come in on those services so that you're not having that opportunity cost of not maximizing the amount of clients, or patients you're seeing per day.
100%.
So that's one way to fill that hole, right? The other one is, when is the slowest income month? And I don't know. I don't know if December is a slow income month, but I've taught other businesses how to collect $100,000 in cash doing just a single pre-sale of items all at once. I taught a bowling center who collected money for league fees. Just people pay their league fees, at the beginning of each league. Well, they just said, okay, this 1 week in December, come in, pay us in advance for the whole year on all your league fees, and we're going to give you a reward bonus. And they collected over $100,000 in pre-money, and they just give away a bonus, for a reward. A fake, not fake, but you know what I mean? It's a virtual, can't even use the word virtual currency anymore because it's because of crypto. But I used to use that word all the time before crypto's big. But you know what I mean? It's a virtual credit, a digital credit towards a business, and you're securing the money up front. So from December, instead of doing this month and that month and pet dental and blah, 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 you can consolidate all into, hey, between December 20th and January 1st, we're doing our holiday special. And anybody who preloads or buys a $500 offer, we're going to go ahead and give you $600. So all of a sudden, you've got all your clients sitting at home. They look in their phone and they see this offer and they know it's available because you put it on social media. They can just pull out their mobile phone, look up the online portal. Boom, I'm buying it. I just bought a coupon for $500. I get a credit for $6. They come in. You can give them a gift card if you want. for that, do whatever. They can get their $500 and then they can get that $100 bonus in services towards their pet. But you can collect hundreds of thousands of dollars immediately upfront by collecting money in advance. And to me, that's 100 times more profitable and smarter than doing what a lot of practices are doing with all these huge discounts and this plan and puppy plans and all that kind of stuff. Just discounting your way. Don't get me started on discounting, but people will say, well, you're just discounting a different way. Yes, it's discounting a different way, and it's more profitable and it's more beneficial, and it makes people, 600%, they spent all that money. Now they got $600 at your practice. Where are they going?
Yep. They're going to come back.
Five corporate companies around you with unlimited marketing budgets and more doctors than they need to service everybody. You think they're going to get you to go there when you have a $600 balance? So if we're going to talk about loyalty, let's just net it down to the most money you collect in advance is probably going to produce the most amount of loyalty if possible. And if they're paying you monthly and you're doing all the other things which you talked about in the beginning of this, of the service on the service end, then you are doing everything at the highest level, in my opinion.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I know, just thinking about that, like let's say you are doing dental month, and I know a lot of practices want to be doing more dentals. But if you have a list of clients who are members that have rewards and reward balances and balances that they've been prepaying into, you could say, hey, it's just wanted to give you a call. We have some openings for dental appointments right now, and we have a special on our dental procedures, and you have a $500 balance. So you'd normally be paying $2,500 for this procedure, and now you're going to be paying, 20% off. Would you be open sometime this month? And you're calling, and I think the potential for compliance is way higher. You can actually, see who hasn't come in for a dental ever and see who has a balance. And with dental procedures, it's just huge margin, so high margin and, really good care for pets. It makes a difference in their life. And I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay. So let's re-describe that offer that I just described. I made it a blanket offer, sent to spend $500, get $600 and just on anything in the practice. I like I like those because they're just easy for everyone to say, okay, well, I fit in that. But if you wanted to do that same offer, you can say, hey, here's a normal dental cost this, and we are going to send this. We're giving you this offer right now where you can buy, $300 worth of dental that would normally cost, say $450, buy $300, and we're going to give you $100 reward bonus, as well, or whatever it is. And then you say, on that, you can say, redeemable, and all pet dentals we just need to schedule it between this time and this time, unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
So now you're filling your schedule in that back to school month with dentals and servicing all of that. So to me, it just gives you some more options, and you can collect some money in advance. And I don't know if that's a way of redoing dental month, but I think that's more efficient for the dog and, or the pet, right? Is it better for an owner to sit around and wait for dental month to get their deal, or just say, hey, buy this right now, and then you can redeem it at this time. So now you're controlling when you're going to do it, when you're servicing it, when they're doing that, but you're collecting money on it all the time.
Yeah. And then you get the urgency to get people to take action too, which will help them and help their pets, and increase the compliance, which is what everybody wants, which is providing great care for your pet. But I think that also puts you more in control of what kind of procedures am I going to be doing, because it makes it so that you're, not just sitting and waiting to see what walks in the door, but you're being proactive. Because if you only have so many procedures that you can see in a day, you better be filling it with the right kinds.
I don't even know the answer to this question, but could you hire dental technicians and on an independent basis where they just come in for a month or 2-month window where they're just they're just doing that for 2 months, and you're kind of getting out 80% of your dental procedures in that month. You hire that extra help, and then they're done.
I know that there's kind of relief type doctors who will come in and do dental procedures in practice, for you and work those. And I know somebody who I'm helping right now. She's working on she just wants to rotate between practices in her area and just do dentals for them, for their clients. And so that is 100% a thing that you could do. And the veterinarians who love doing dentistry, that would be a great way to get.
So maybe it's easier. Maybe it's more efficient for this whole I can't hire enough help to just do it this way anyways. You sell it all in advance, you pre-book it, you pre-book the schedule, and you hire help for that 2 or 3 month window. It might be easier than hiring a full-time person to your practice.
Yeah, 100%. Or, specialty surgeries, so, ophthalmology, soft tissue surgery. You got the mobile specialists who can roll in and give your clients great care, and you get to increase your revenue without increasing your workload, which is really cool. So that's a really cool idea.
So I hope that gives you some, I know you got a pretty sophisticated marketing mind audience. So hopefully those are some new things to think about, chew on, and that isn't covered in their everyday, whatever show they're going to.
Some creative ideas that I think people can think about. And how is the best way for people to get in touch with you? And if somebody's interested in these ideas, what can they do?
You know what, for your audience, I just want you to call me direct. Just call me direct, or send me a text, and we can set up a time to talk. But you can call. I'll just give my phone number: 714 area code 271-8354. And if you can text that number, just say this is so and so from this practice in this area, and we can set up something right by text if that's easy. You can also go to rethinkvetsolutions.com. Although our website is not updated to a lot of the things we've talked about today. Like I said, we've been building the tech stack to the live version now, and we're launching. So you can give me a call. You can send me an email, brian@rethinkloyalty.com, BRIAN@rethinkloyalty.com. But a text message is pretty easy. Send me a text right now. I'd love to answer your questions. I'd love to see if we can build something to solve any type of problems in your practice, or if you see membership as something you'd want to do in your practice and haven't fit into wellness plans or failed at original wellness plan models, I'd love to have a chat with you.
Very cool. Well, I'll be sure to put all of those in the show description. So wherever you're listening to this, you can go check out the show description, and that contact info will be there. Thanks so much, Brian, for your time today.
Do you want me to give that offer to your client base?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so what we've talked about is a new tech stack, and we want to go live with it. And because it's your audience, and we would love to get data, build some case studies, build some use case studies that we can share. We would love to offer the first year on the new platform for free. And so I can go over the details later, but just absolutely free. You don't pay us anything to use the software. We'll show you how to make a lot of money, create a lot of memberships. You got nothing to lose. And for the first 5 practices that reach out from your podcast, we'll do that. So I've never done that before. My own clients hear that, they're gonna be like, huh? But this is specific to the new model, the full automation that we talked about, the new technology, which I'll demo for you. But we're making that available for the first time ever in the industry. And this is the first time I've discussed this on anything public. It's not even on our websites. I don't have a webinar. I don't even have video recording demonstrations of all of it live. I'm going to do that today. But we're early. We're early on the newest model version of the way we unroll it. But we've got hundreds of thousands of members in the past, and reach out. We'd love to help.
That's great. Well, if you're interested or think you're interested, be sure to contact Brian. We have several thousand subscribers to the podcast, so those will likely go really fast. So I appreciate your time so much, Brian, and thank you for that offer for the audience. And looking forward to seeing how it goes.
No problem. Thank you, Brandon. Take care. Have a good day. Rest of your week. Thanks, everybody.
All right. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions, comments, or you need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.